Gone 5, 16, 19, 21, 33, and 10. Check results. You remember?
Pot a day, Doctor Way, 200 and I'm not sure. 1st of December, and I'm feeling Christmassy. I'm feeling in a Christmassy mood. I really wanted to have there's a fire just to my right here, and I kind of wanted that in the background. The sort of chestnuts roasting on an open fire, even though the fire's not open, there's no chestnuts. Still, fire, Christmassy, maybe it would feel that kind of way. For the 1st of December at least. But I haven't got a blind for one of these windows, and the light shining through. I just couldn't get an aesthetic I wanted. So instead, I'm sitting on the floor, very homely. I've got a light in the background. I guess in my mind, that's the best I could do because I couldn't have the fire in the back, which right now I'm sitting extremely close to, and the sole right side of my face is very hot. Where are the notes? They are over here. Not a great start because we have got some shits to talk about. As always, I mean, that's the whole kind of vibe. That's whole dealio. You do, pod a day, all that kind of stuff. And even though I've struggled a little bit this year, we'll speak about that, once the year comes to a full-on close, which will be 23rd of December, I think is when I've been doing this exactly a year. And you look at people like Penguin Zero, they have no trouble posting once, sometimes twice, a day pretty much, little 20-minute stuff. And it's I don't know, the podcast has been a struggle. But to be fair, it's not the only thing I'm trying to do. We got the Formula One podcast that we've been trying to do along with the season that's now just ended. And then on top of that, just sort of football videos about Chelsea and shit. And then, what was the other stuff? Chelsea videos, just football and all that shit. And then the main channel, which is movie stuff, which to be fair is more irregular. It's more once a month kind of video, but the editing's just longer in it. The last one was on Friends. What was it? It was on Matthew Perry. But yeah, no one gives a fuck. So today, which one? I mean, there's so much shit I could bring up. Which ones do I want to bring up first? I think I want to bring up not really Christmassy at all. If anything, I guess maybe it's Christmassy for one person because they're going to get the gift of a lifetime. But I feel like I have good insight for this as well, so I feel like this is actually good if I speak about it. The Squid Game show, which by the way might be one of the these game shows where there's big money on the line to win, are getting more and more crazy. And I only really thought about it until Mr. Beast started making videos like this. I'm gonna trap two people who desperately need this sum of money in a room for 100 days. It's kind of like we just doing these experiments on people now, seeing what we can put people through for large amounts of money. And it's usually when you watch these shows, it's they try and go for this money, but it's not a big deal. I watched this really crap money game show type thing where they made you stay up all night counting pennies and coins and shit, right? And you're up all night and you're counting these 5p coins. There might have been 1p's, right? And then you're just trying to keep count of what number you're on. And obviously you're not allowed to I can't remember what the rules were, but you had to spend the whole night counting money, right? And then keep track of how much you counted. And then the next morning they'd make you do a bunch of challenges and shit. Anyway, then they would ask you how much money you think you counted last night. And you would say something I think I counted 60,000 grand in 1p coins. And then depending on how close you were, would be depending on how much money you win. So say I thought I counted 60,146 pounds in coins, right? And then the next day, how much do you think you counted? And I say that much. Then within a bracket of how close to that number is how much money I can make. So, right, say I said that and I said, and I think I'm going to be within, I think I'll be within 20 grand. That's a very big, either side 20 grand. That's pretty big, right? So if it was 70k, I actually counted, not 60k. You're within 20 grand. But because you made the bracket so big, the money you can win will be not as large, it'll be pretty small. So if you then want to keep closing the bracket, say, okay, within 10 grand, within 5 grand, you can win more and more. And this guy was on the show and he kept showing his picture of his son and his passport or in his wallet. I'm doing this for my son. We really need the money, this and that. And he got to a point where he won a very good amount of money. And they're okay, but to win the jackpot, to win $1 million, do you want to say, will you, it was something ridiculous, will you win £100 Never gonna happen. He's like, yeah, let's go. I'm feeling good. Run me my money. And then obviously he like strikes out. He's not within that, and he walks away with nothing. And it's like, he's like, oh no, no, and he's like having a fit or whatever, right? But at the same time, if you desperately needed this money for your child and your like livelihood, you would have just taken. You wouldn't have risked it all for nothing, right? So usually game shows run like that. It doesn't feel like the stakes are too high. People are like, oh no, and they kind of move on. Like you watch like Pointless or like a game show like that or Tipping Point, and it's like we're playing for shekels for like £1 grand, £2 grand, something nice now to get you through the next month, or like go on a little nice holiday somewhere with the family, right? It's not life changing, right? But we've got shows like Squid Game where they get people who like need this money, right? And it's ridiculous. It's like 1.5 million or more or less. I don't know how much, right? Crazy amounts of money, and it's like, what kind of crazy games can we get? Can we make them go through to like for good TV? So they jump through hoops for this, right? Oh, let's base it off of the show, which is literally like the show that's literally about making like the poor, right? It's like the rich making the poor because they know they'll do it because they need to. It's either this or death, kind of in another way. I've never seen Squid Game. I'm kind of just guessing from what I've heard, kind of, right? Let's make them do these trials where they can win shit because we know they need it. And what's the crazy shit we can make them do? And then let's base it off of that game show. And then I've seen people on there like, fall out of a task and then shut down, just completely shut down, like, like like freaking out massively, right? I also saw people trying to sue the show because they're saying it was like not fair and inhumane, the conditions that was making them do these games, and it was way too cold, and they had to freeze for like hours. And obviously on the show, like they freeze when the doll turns around, and then when the doll turns back, they run. But in real life, that wait was a lot longer because they got to go through and they're checking on like monitors, movement stuff. And where my insight can come in, which is, this is really random, but I game tested for that show. So where they shot it, we had to go there. They dressed us up in the whole shit. So we was wearing the green tracksuits and that. It was inside this huge like air force kind of bunker out in the middle of nowhere. And you go in there, it was the same set, like all the walls were painted as well, so it looked like that, and they had the big doll up at the front and everything. And we had to go there, and it was pretty cold when we went. I can't remember when it was. It might have been like this time last year actually, so it might have been winter. Well, it definitely wasn't warm. I can tell you that much for free, because they was giving us like these hand warmers that you like squeeze, and the like it makes a reaction that makes these like little packets of like sand or something that makes it hot, and you hold it and it keeps you warm and shit. And basically they gave us like these harnesses to wear under our clothes, which like would squirt water, which basically is like you're dead if you moved or something. And I can't, like, on the thing, they're very much like, if anyone's cold at any point, please just say, please tell, because they're like, obviously in their head, they're trying to do everything they can not to be sued. If you're feeling cold, please, and they go through all these procedures, like, raise your hand, this and that, and we'll give you the things, and we can take you out any time. And it's like, well, they were telling me that, I was thinking, oh, this all sounds fucking ridiculous. But this is what they're trying to, like, stop happening, which immediately happens when the show contestants come on. We want to sue. But it's like, they probably didn't have the grounds to go on because, like, obviously Netflix TV show, they had themselves covered. Like, they went through all the procedures and stuff. That being said, it is true. Like, I'm assuming we were testing the game, so it was going to be longer for us. I don't know how long it was for the actual people waiting in the finalized show who was actually on the show, but like for us, genuinely, it's like, and you run forward like 4 steps, and then it's like freeze, right? So then you're frozen, you're standing still. And like at first everyone's like, yep, we're gonna freeze, we're not gonna move, we're only really gonna move our eyes, and we're just gonna stay still, right? And then 5 minutes go by, and then 10 minutes go by, and then half an hour goes by. I'm pretty sure some of the waits were over an hour. Like, they was like, okay guys, we're gonna take a break, walk out, and we'll come back in where we'll stand. Like, very long as they like went through with this shit technology, trying to see who had moved. And then once it got to like the third time we ran forward and stopped, people weren't even really freezing anymore. They were just kind of stopping on the spot and kind of just like talking with the person next to them, this and that. Yeah, we've been waiting there for like 45. Oh, we're freezing. Yeah, we'll see if we'll go again. Oh yeah, we're back. Guys, we're about to go again. And then it's like you'd go again. So the wait was fucking ridiculous, considering in the actual show it's more like what, 20 seconds you probably wait. Here it's like 45 minutes, so that was crazy. You just don't care, and that's why when I was other game testing stuff like the little biscuit bullshit. I was like, fuck that. But hey, if you're signing up to, here's the thing, right? You're on a show where they're gonna put you through trials, and then if you're good enough, you win like £1 million. So like it being kind of cold for half an hour in between you running, it's like that's not ideal probably, but at the same time you literally signed up for a show where you're going to get put through trials and for money, so like you know what you're doing this for type thing. That being said, the show is absolutely unhinged and it's absolutely crazy that Netflix are just showing people go through the fucking craziest shit. You need cash, and the amount of people who are like, and then tweeting out, this might be the most dramatic reaction we've seen yet. And it's like, yeah, no shit, that guy probably like had no job or whatever. And this was like, oh my god, the Squid Games game show, I'll sign up for that. And this is what I need. And I'll get back on my feet. And I can finally pay the people back that I owe money to. And it was that kind of reaction. Like he was fucked. But yeah, you know, crazy entertainment. And I just thought, oh, that's funny because I game tested it and it was so boring. It was so fucking boring. I think they took our phones as well. So like in between waiting, you'd sit in like these tents, not like camping tents, like big marquee kind of tents, and there'd just be like fold out tables and stuff, and you just sit in there. People would be playing cards and that because you weren't allowed your phone. They took your phone because they didn't want people taking photos of the set or whatever. I guess I don't know why you couldn't just be on it inside the tent, but that made the days even longer. And honestly, when I got paid, the money wasn't very good either. So there's that. But yeah, that's been going on. Anything else? Oh yeah, there is. But I mean, speaking of unhinged things, it would be easy to lead into that, but that's a whole other title in itself. I mean, here's something real quick, probably around that, completely unrelated. But like, Conor McGregor had a son. I think or another one. I think he's just had a kid, and like, kids aren't cute at the best of times, and I'm talking especially newborn babies. Like newborn babies straight out the womb, right? And they're covered in like gunk and shit, and like they're basically still looking purple, and their eyes aren't even open, and their hands are swollen and shit like that. And it's like the same way how like the woman giving birth, most likely, I'm unsure, wouldn't want the first second straight after pushing out the baby, quick snap for the gram, you know. It's like, oh, let's just calm down a bit, let me like, oh, you know, let me just, you know, cool down or whatever, can have a glass of water before we start taking family photos for the internet, right? For the same way people would probably do that. I don't know why when people have a kid and they want to tell the world, it's like immediately, like within the first 10 minutes of it coming out, they gotta get a quick snap. Cause like the baby looks freaky, man. It looks weird. Like the head is like huge. It's got like these limbs. It looks like those, you know, those big inflatable balloons that you see in America, which go over parades and shit. They look like that, and their arms were all like fat and chunky and swollen, and they're all purple, and they got like shit in their eyes, and they're covered in gunk and stuff. And it's like maybe just what, even like 6 hours. No, like at least. But I would say at least wait, like, I don't know. When does a baby stop looking like that? Like 24, maybe we just take it. Maybe like, I don't care. So often I go on these tangents. I complain about these things as if I actually give a fuck. I don't care. Take a photo while it's halfway out for all I care, really. But I just mean that because I guess you maybe would want to have one immediately. But yeah, I mean, I've never seen really a photo of myself below the age of. Have I seen a photo of myself below the age of 1 or 2? How old are you when you're 1 or 2? Like, have I seen a picture of myself when I'm a baby? Like an actual baby, like not being able to walk still. I feel like I've maybe seen 1. And I don't think we have it anymore. But like I just don't feel like we had photos of us when we were like babies. Like when we could walk, I can in my mind I can see photos of myself right now where I'm like a toddler. Or like you're walking and stuff and you can't speak, that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about baby, like full on baby when you can barely support your neck. Like, I don't even know if we have that type of shit. Which is crazy because some families document their whole like kids' lives like VHSs, and it's like, this is 0 to 6 months, this is 6 months to 1 year, this is learning to play piano. They got like everything recorded down. which I'm like, I don't know. Like it's like a nice sentiment, but to me it's just like, oh, there's just like, then you got to back it up somewhere, and it's just like it feels like, it feels more like hoarding to me. It's like you spend half the time just scared you're gonna lose the footage or it's gonna corrupt, and like you probably barely watch it. And it's nice to have, I guess, and like I'm sure it will become useful at some point, but it just feels like it's like having a long streak in Duolingo. This is what I can closely relate to because I have a long streak in Duolingo right now. But when you have a long streak on Duolingo, that's nice. I have this 500-day streak. But at the same time, it's this constant stress because all you're thinking about is potentially losing that streak. It's like, oh, I've got these videos and stuff we captured. But like, really, it's like this stressful thing that like, oh, God, what if we lose? And what if the house burns down? What if it gets corrupted when I try to transfer it and this and that? And I've got to carry them around. It takes up space. It's just like, have a photo album or two, I reckon. And, it's like when you take videos and stuff of fireworks on like bonfire night and shit, and it's like you're never gonna look at that again, but you just can't help yourself taking it. It just sits there in the camera roll, taking up space. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. That is all. The lighting is absolutely fucking abhorrent right now. My teeth look like they're made out of wood. I don't know why I've got a light bulb sitting behind me, and yeah, but I don't know. I just thought, Christmassy time. Let's get something that looks a bit warm and looks a bit cozy. This is Pod a Day, Dr. Way. 200 and I don't know. And I'll see you in the next one.
With the kids, and I have like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. Like,